what are your thoughts on the whole quote unquote get on zero thesis, meaning hold $0 in all Bitcoin? I personally think it's fairly dumb and foolish. I think it puts you in a weak position on massive drawdowns, and it kind of forces someone else to be the buyer of last resort. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? I guess that's the first time I've heard that expression, get on zero. I always thought it was a misnomer. I know what get off zero means, and that's how I like to manage risk with respect to Bitcoin. And I've made this fairly public. I firstly am not 100% exposed to Bitcoin, and shame on me, but that's never how I've managed risk. And then secondly, and most importantly, with the asymmetry of the return distribution of Bitcoin, meaning the asymmetric upside, you actually don't have to be all in order to participate in a generational wealth opportunity. And so I have never actually advocated being 100% in Bitcoin. That being said, I understand the conviction. But you know what? I own a basket of hard assets that includes Bitcoin as my highest weighting of the hard asset category. But I also own other hard assets. And that's just the way I've always managed risk. And gold, for example, is not Bitcoin's enemy. In fact, gold and Bitcoin are so closely joined at the hip in terms of why they exist to hedge against central bank shenanigans. I think that it's natural that gold bugs would gravitate to Bitcoin. They already understand the fiat Ponzi. Everybody who understands gold understands the fiat Ponzi. And gold is only $10 trillion. I mean, we need to focus on the bond guys, okay? The credit guys, the people that are funding the fiat Ponzi. And that is a $400 trillion pool of assets that should allocate a portion of that pool to Bitcoin. Again, the world, there are no asset managers in the world that are 100% exposed to any one asset class. There are individuals that are, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. But the big money will never be 100% exposed to any asset. I've always managed risk on that basis. I own equities. The only thing I own zero of is bonds. And given that I traded bonds for 35 years, this is the first time in my life I have zero exposure to bonds. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm on zero in the bond allocation. But if you own zero in Bitcoin, you're taking an extreme amount of risk. And then when the boys and ladies say get on zero, meaning get on zero cash 100% to Bitcoin, I think you're going a little too far to the tail risk side because, yeah, markets are volatile. We are on the head of a pin, and the Wall Street algos are still trading Bitcoin as a risk asset. Okay, they haven't made the, there haven't been enough senior people in the analysis team to say, hey, you know what, Bitcoin isn't a risk asset. It's actually insurance. It's the opposite of a risk asset. But until that narrative catches on, yeah, you have to play it like you see it. Don't trade the book you want. Trade the book you have. And right now, Bitcoin is being traded as a risk asset. Full stop. I think that'll change over time. But until it does, I need to keep powder dry, allocate it to other assets. If you want to call out an asset, my choice is calling out bonds. Bonds are a fiat contract. Bonds are a fiat contract programmed to debase. That also is pure math. And bonds are what funds the fiat Ponzi. So, maybe we'll take that expression, get on zero bonds, okay? That should be for a lot of the population of the world. And you'll say, well, we always need to hold some bonds. I'll say, okay, well, at least get out of some of your bonds and allocate that portion to Bitcoin because the 60-40 portfolio is dead. 60% equities, 40% bonds. That 40% that's in bonds is mathematically programmed to debase, as well as bonds, as you know, perform very poorly in rising interest rate environments. So there's not a lot there for the bond guys, in my opinion.